So, what if I told you that right this very second, you are literally glowing in the dark? I know, it sounds totally like science fiction, but it's actually a verifiable scientific fact. Human bodies emit visible light. Today, we're going to unravel exactly how and why this happens, and trust me, it could completely change the future of medicine as we know it. Okay, let's dive right into this, because when images of this glowing phenomenon first hit the internet, people completely lost their minds. I mean, sensational headlines were popping up everywhere. You had people claiming scientists finally captured the human soul leaving the body, or that they'd somehow managed to photograph mystical human auras. But think about this stark contrast here. On one hand, you have a living body, and it's emitting these glowing particles. And just to be super clear, we are not talking about infrared body heat here. These are actual physical light particles congregating intensely, especially right around the center of the face. But then, on the other hand, a deceased body is cold, dark, blue, and showing absolutely zero light emissions. When we die, the light just stops. So naturally, the big question is, what exactly is leaving the body? Section 1. The glowing body mystery. To really solve this mystery, we've got to look past all those wild internet rumors and step into a seriously fascinating scientific detective story. Honestly, it took researchers nearly 80 years to fully decode this whole thing. The timeline starts way back in 1923. A Russian biologist named Alexander Gurwitch hypothesized that plant cells were basically signaling each other to multiply using this invisible radiation. Fast forward to 1962, his daughter Anna used a device called a photon multiplier to actually detect these incredibly faint UV emissions. Then, in the 1970s, a researcher named Fritz Albert Popp officially coined the term biophotons for these light particles. But the absolute game changer? That happened in 1999. A Japanese scientist, Masaki Kobayashi, used ultra-advanced CCD cameras, literally chilled to minus 120 degrees Celsius, to track these particles in absolute real time. Section 2. Discovery of invisible light. Now, you might be wondering, hey, if I've been glowing this whole time, why can't I just turn off the bedroom lights, look in the mirror, and see it? Well, it all comes down to the physics of light. Biophotons exist in the 200 to 300 nanometer ultraviolet spectrum. That's entirely invisible to the naked human eye. But beyond just being invisible, these emissions are unbelievably weak. A living cell releases anywhere from just 1 to 1,000 photons per square centimeter every second. To put that into perspective, think of your typical 60-watt light bulb. That bulb is pumping out 1 quintillion photons in that exact same space and time. So the light from our bodies? It's absolutely real for sure, but it's basically a microscopic whisper. Section 3. The pseudoscience trap. But you know how it goes. Whenever there's a whisper of the unknown in science, human imagination tends to fill in the blanks with a massive shout. This perfectly valid biological discovery got hijacked by sensationalism pretty quickly. By the 1990s, figures like Konstantin Korotkov started pushing this idea that the glowing aura was literally human consciousness leaving the physical body over 24 to 48 hours. And then Masaru Emoto took things even further. He claimed that water actually has a conscious memory, saying its crystalline structure would literally react differently depending on whether you spoke positive or negative words to it. So the crucial point here is, we've really got to maintain our critical thinking. While these wild claims about water consciousness and aura photography spawned a massive million-dollar industry of self-help books and spiritual seminars, they firmly belong in the realm of pseudoscience. And why is that? Because they completely lack rigorous, peer-reviewed evidence. None of it was verified by independent scientists in reputed journals. So to find the real answer, we had to stop looking at magic and look directly at biology. Section 4. The real culprit: metabolism. This brings us right back to the skeptics, the scientists who demanded hard data, specifically our pioneer from Japan, Masaki Kobayashi. He wanted to nail down the exact biological source of this light. So he set up this brilliant experiment using a rat's brain. He placed the exposed brain in a pitch-black room, hooked up an EEG to monitor the electrical activity, and used devices to track cerebral blood flow and oxygen consumption. Then he mapped the photon emissions. And wow, the results were jaw-dropping. Whenever there was a spike in the brain's electrical activity and oxygen use, there was a perfectly matching spike in photon emissions. The blow wasn't a soul at all. It was the direct result of cellular metabolism and stress. Section 5. Unmasking Ross. That experiment effectively unmasked the actual chemical culprit hiding inside our cells. Let me introduce you to ROS, which stands for reactive oxygen species. When our cells metabolize oxygen to give us energy, ROS is created as a byproduct. Think of it as a highly reactive, super unstable metabolic waste product that constantly roams around your cells, just desperately searching for electrons to steal. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly how that specific chemistry generates light. Think of these ROS molecules as having incredibly unstable electrons, kind of like a single person frantically looking for a partner. Or they have very weak bonds, almost like an unhappy arranged marriage just waiting for an excuse to break apart. To stabilize themselves, they literally commit cellular theft. They violently steal electrons from your DNA, your proteins, your lipids. It's exactly like pulling bricks out from the base of a building. When these electrons get forcefully pushed and shifted around, all that rapid momentum creates energy. And that energy, it's released as photons. So there you have it. That is exactly why you glow. To absolutely prove this cause and effect relationship, Kobayashi ran a stunning experiment with plants back in 2007. He deliberately infected a cowpea plant with a virus just to trigger an allergic response. And, exactly as predicted, the stressed plant experienced massive ROS spikes and began glowing intensely under the cameras. But then, he delivered the knockout punch. He injected the plant with a powerful antioxidant called titrone, which is known to specifically neutralize ROS. Almost immediately, the glowing dropped by 50 to 80%. No ROS meant no light. The mystery was scientifically solved. No, wait a second. I don't want you leaving this explainer thinking ROS is just some evil villain out to destroy your cells. Biology is all about balance, right? In normal amounts, ROS is actually absolutely essential for your survival. It acts as a critical signaling messenger telling your cells to undergo detoxification. Actually, if you hit the gym, you need ROS. After a heavy workout, ROS is the exact messenger that tells your body, hey, it's time to synthesize protein and build muscle. Studies even show that if you take heavy antioxidants right after a workout, you can severely blunt your muscle growth because you're blocking that exact signal. Section 6. A medical revolution. So while a little ROS is great, a massive excess means extreme cellular stress. And decoding that simple fact, well, it sparked a literal medical revolution. Now, what's really interesting is seeing exactly how diseases reveal themselves in the dark. A normal healthy cell emits a nice, steady, low baseline of photons. But compare that to a cancer cell. Because cancer grows completely uncontrollably and puts immense metabolic stress on the body, it produces massive amounts of ROS. As a result, those cancer cells are emitting up to 4.73 times more light than normal cells. They are quite literally screaming for help using invisible light. And this opens up a mind-blowing future for medical diagnostics. I mean, we can use this light for early cancer detection, spotting the abnormal glow of a stressed cell long before a physical tumor even has a chance to form. We can track our circadian rhythms naturally, literally watching our body's light dim at night while we rest and brighten during the day. We can even precisely measure UV skin damage just by calculating the increased biophoton release on our skin after a long day in the sun. But here's where it gets really crazy. When you pair this biological discovery with modern computing, you basically give doctors a superpower. Today's hypersensitive CCD cameras can map billions of these invisible photons in real time. And when we feed those massive data libraries into artificial intelligence, those AI algorithms can spot tiny irregularities in our glow that human eyes could literally never detect. In the very near future, your doctor might instantly detect hidden inflammation or silent diseases based entirely on the subtle light patterns your body is radiating. We started this whole journey looking for ghosts and mystical auras, and instead, we found a verifiable biological alarm system that has the potential to save countless lives. Honestly, science proves time and time again that the real truth is way more captivating than fiction. So I'm going to leave you with this thought to ponder. If the invisible light of our own cells can diagnose our deepest diseases before they even strike, what other incredible medical miracles are hiding right now in the dark?